thought I'd tell a ghost story tonight, because ghosts, after all, do have lives, you know, and their stories need to be told. This is my prop, so pardon me while I put it on. Now, take, for example, the one that haunted Harrowby Hall. Harrowby Hall was an inn on the cliff by the sea, and it had been haunted since the early 19th century. The ghost always appeared only during the first hour of Christmas Eve, and when the clock struck 1, she'd disappear, leaving the room, the very finest room, that's the only one she ever haunted, just saturated with seawater. Now, the ghost was a beautiful, watery young lady with cavernous blue eyes and long, slender fingers entwined with ribbons of dripping seaweed which hung to the floor. She was only 15 years old when she achieved immortality. And in light of her age, all the finest ghostly tutors instructed her in the proper duties and mannerisms expected of a mature specter. Now, she was a willing student, but 200 years of exposure to the diversions and impositions of an ever-changing world had weakened the concentration of this forever 15-year-old, and she was prone to slipping in and out of character. Now, the hereditary owners of Harrowby Hall had tried for 200 years to rid themselves of her with no success. And the current heir, a sour middle-aged man named Henry Hartwick Oglethorpe, continued that tradition. One year he waterproofed the room, trying to keep her from leaking in. But she appeared right on time and left behind the usual watery mess. One year he left the room vacant, believing maybe that the absence of a human presence would keep her away. But instead, she mercilessly sought out Oglethorpe in his own room. When she came in, her presence drenched the room, took the curl out of his hair, ruined his whiskey, doused the fire, and obliterated a fine collection of watercolor paintings. Well, Oglethorpe had had enough. He grabbed a wet towel and wiped his face and addressed her directly, which no mortal had ever done. "Young lady, you must stop these infernal visits of yours. Taking the curl out of my hair, ruining my whiskey, saturating me and all my guests. This must stop. Don't do it again." Well, the 200-year-old teenager wasn't listening. Instead, she was staring at a device in her hand, poking away madly at it with her thumbs. But finally, she did respond. "Huh? No. Henry Hartwick Oglethorpe, it is no pleasure for me to enter this house and ruin and mildew everything I come near. But it's like my doom and stuff, you know? I mean, fate compels me to revisit this inn year after year and endure eternal bad hair. Do you know who I am?" "I would imagine you're the Lady of the Lake, or maybe little Sally Waters." "You're a funny old dude, you know? I mean, LOL. I mean, it is and I do admire your dry wit. It is something I shall never have. I am never dry. For I am the water ghost of Harrowby Hall." "Is that so? Well, whose ghost are you?" "I am the spirit of that winsome youth whose portrait hangs in the drawing room. On this night, 200 years ago, I drowned in the sea. I would have been your great, 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 great aunt had I lived, for I was the sister of your great, 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 great grandfather." "Well, how did you drown?" put this house in such a predicament each year? It was like my father's fault. He built Harrowby Hall. That room was to be mine. But he painted it pink and orange. I mean, seriously? Well, I told him that unless he redecorated, I'd go live somewhere else. And he was all, I don't care where you live. And I was all like, Dad. And he was all like, don't roll your eyes at me, young lady. And I was all like, fine. And I ran out of the house and totally fell off the cliff into the sea. A week or so later, old C-Nymph came up to me and she was all, you have to go back into the house for 1 hour every Christmas Eve. There's somebody in the room and stuff. And she said that if there's no one in the room, she said, if there is no one in the room, I must spend that hour with the head of the house. Now, that is you, Henry Hartwick Oglethorpe. You're telling me that there's no one in that room, that you're going to come and haunt me and ruin my hair and my whiskey and rust all my clocks and soak everything in the room in nearby proximity? Well, duh. I mean, it is so, Henry Hartwick Oglethorpe. Well, I'll just sell the place. You can't do that. For I am also required to divulge the awful secret of Harrowby Hall to all interested buyers should any of the heirs try to sell out. Well, how could you possibly do that? You're only here for once a year, and then for just an hour. Hey, text, drinks, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, and my blog. How could you possibly know about those things? Unlike you, Henry Hartwick Oglethorpe, I'm dead, not out of touch. Well, I have a Facebook page. So does my mother! The clock struck 1 and the apparition trickled away, now leaving Henry Hartwick Oglethorpe more determined than ever to escape her curse. The next year, he decided to heat the room to 100 degrees Celsius when she arrived, hoping to boil her away. But as hot as the room got, it only shortened her visit by 5 minutes or so. The room itself was warped and cracked, requiring expensive repairs. The next year, he came up with another scheme to deliver himself from her. On Christmas Eve, he dressed in a set of long, furry underwear, furry side in. And over that, he placed a tight-fitting rubber suit. And over that, a set of long woolen underwear. And over that, a second tight-fitting rubber suit. And he encased his head in a diving helmet. And dressed in these warm clothes, these warm layers, he entered the room. The clock clanked out 12. And there was a blast of frigid air and a loud splash. And once again, the water ghost was standing by his side. Cold rivulets of cold water streamed down his diving helmet and the outer rubber suit. But this year, there was something different about the water ghost. There was a tiny flashing light protruding from her ear. And she seemed to be talking to herself. Yeah, I'd like to go out tonight, wouldn't you? Yeah, I think that would be good. Want to go out like tonight, huh? Well, Oglethorpe interrupted. Who are you talking to? Gotta go. Bye. See you later. Hey, dude, where'd you get that cool hoodie? He said, what is that thing in your ear? Oh, Bluetooth. Never mind. Is it true that you must spend 1 mortal hour with me, go where I go, sit where I sit, stand where I stand? Yeah, I mean, it is true. Well, then let's go out to the lake. No way, dude. You'll totally catch cold for sure. No, I won't. I'm very warmly dressed. Come on, we will go out to the lake. And so they did. And they hadn't been gone long before the water ghost started complaining. Like, could you walk a little faster, dude? I mean, you know, I'm getting stiff and all. No, I'm walking as fast as I can. As a matter of fact, I think we should sit down here on this snowdrift and rest and talk things over. Let's move on, shall we? I mean, I'm becoming rigid, and if we don't move along, I'll become frozen stiff. That, my dear, is why I have brought you here. You have drenched your last drench at Harrowby Hall. But I'll just thaw out again. You'll see. I'll just become an ice water bitch. No, you won't. Because I have another torment in mind for you. Could we move on? I'm becoming rigid. I mean, like, my knees are becoming stiff. This is totally uncool. Those were her last words. The next Christmas, Oglethorpe was reveling with a bottle of fine whiskey, comforted in the fact that the water ghost of Harrowby Hall was standing frozen solid in the cold storage warehouse where he had put her. Never again to flick upon him her flood of doom and seawater. And then precisely at midnight, oops, well, his cell phone rang. Oglethorpe here. Who's there? Hello? 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 And that's the story of the water ghost of Harrowby Hall.